For FS to come into any country, most of the time they rely on foreign direct investment, foreign portfolio investment, remittances, trading goods and trading services. But there's a challenge. Out of all the, you see these three, no country has control over it. But this one, every country has control over it. For this one, outsider determine they will send money to your country. For this one, the citizens of that country determine they will bring in foreign exchange to their country. So the real challenge is people not recognizing the fact that I'm not focusing on this as a people. That's the challenge. And that's why we're having big issues with exchange rates in Nigeria. Now, so the goal of this session is to be able to increase trading goods. And not just goods, also trading services. Trading services is growing because that means I can be in Nigeria and be rendering services to people abroad and they can pay me in foreign exchange. So what is exporting? Export occurs when you sell a product or service to a buyer in another country or a visitor from another country. So for example, if someone from Ghana comes into Nigeria and buy a product when he came to Nigeria and went out with it, that will be an export because he would have converted his Ghana to dollars and then get to Nigeria, convert the dollar to naira to be able to buy from Nigeria. In today's world, a simple definition is insufficient for export. Exporting can no longer just be considered as selling goods across borders. It's a dynamic enterprise whereby an exporting company ensures the article it exports reaches the destination in a condition that fully satisfies the needs of the latter in the expectation of getting repeat business. Historically, exporting is defined as the sale of goods by a company in one country to another company in another country, and the export company supply goods or service to the import company, which in return reimburse them for doing so. So the question is, why are people not exporting? There are myths about exporting, and I've seen some of the myths this morning. Export is complicated. There are different procedures. Someone said there are bottlenecks. There are misconceptions about export. Number one is, I'm too small. There's nobody too small to export. Nobody is too small to export.
Thank you, sir.
Nobody is too small to export. No, nobody is too small. In fact, let me tell you, there are a lot of small ways you can do export. And what is critical is for you to understand the popularity of the product you want to ship. So, for example, people into fashion can do mini export. People into artwork can do mini export. People into food that are not heavy can do mini export. When I mean mini export now, they are doing it by air. They are doing it by air, not by sea. But nowadays, they can also be by sea, mainly to UK, Canada, and US, because a lot of Nigerians are there. So there are businesses who thrive shipping stuff and sharing container with people abroad. So that means 20 people can put good in a container. That means I can now export without having a full container load. I can export without having a full container load. So don't say I'm too small to export. I can't afford it. That's not true. I can't complete the process. I can't compete rather. It's too complicated. It's too risky. That's not true. It's knowledge intensive. Knowledge intensive. That means you must know what you are doing. You must know what you are doing. You must be able to identify your risk and mitigate your risk. It's knowledge intensive, but when you say something is complicated, it's complicated when you don't understand it. When you understand, it's no more complicated. So, for example, flying a plane is complicated to you and I because we're not pilots. So, a pilot, it does it regularly. But to us, because we have not learned it, that means when you learn, you can easily reduce the perception of complication. Fear of the unknown, fear of regulation, fear of not getting paid, fear of intellectual property risk, fear of legal liability. These fears are there, but you can avoid it. Unknown, go and learn about it. Regulation, learn about regulation. Fear of not getting paid, understand how to mitigate the risk of payment. Understand how to mitigate the risk of payment. There are payment risks in export business. It's your job to learn how to mitigate the risk because there are ways to mitigate the risk. Intellectual property risk. You can register your intellectual property of a product in that country, so that it's easier to easily bring to book whoever is trying to come. That's what technology releases. Ignorance, I think, is the biggest challenge. Ignorance. Ignorance about export potential. Ignorance about the benefit. Ignorance about the step and the procedure involved. So at the end of this program, you should have been able to learn enough to be able to avoid the ignorance. You shouldn't be ignorant issue again. You should now be okay, so what do I want to export and how do I go about it based on what I learned. But like I said, effort is knowledge intensive. So if you are not ready to learn, you know in life, we are all going to learn. Only that some people learn compulsorily through their way. And some people learn voluntarily through class like this. You know, I discussed something about Nigeria. A lot of people want to do business, but they don't want to learn about the business. So he wants to do pure water. Is it not pure water? It's not for me to get the machine and set up and print and then start selling. But when he enter, he will now realize that it's not just getting the machine and doing it, but you now sell that thing. So if you don't invest in learning, you will make your work, your journey very hard and difficult. Because what learning does is that it opens your eye to see the opportunity you were not seeing before. You now know what is possible. You now know what you should avoid and what you should do. Now, I've spoken now for about 20 minutes. Have you learned something that will help you in your business?
Yes, of course.
That's the whole idea.